Hello Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to yet another one of my videos. I just wanted to do a quick show on these last six Napoleonic periplastic French line infantry. I never get it. 28mm as well. Can never get any of these titles right. I've noticed there's two touch-ups I've got to do. It's always the way. I was just taking some quick photographs and I thought, but I'm going with the video now. I'll do them afterwards. Then they're going to get, or collectively the whole unit's going to get a varnish with the airbrush, then a basing process, then another varnish. I tend to, once I've stuck them down, I get good results through an airbrush. I don't get any, I use Winsor & Newton Galleria most of the time, sometimes VMS varnish as well that I use on models, but I've not had any, since I've been using my airbrush, I've not had any shine or any frosting, and that's just mainly not so much weather conditions, I believe, more just the fact that it's not going on really thick. You know, it's going, I mean, it's still getting a protective coat, but I don't have them absolutely drenched in varnish, if that makes sense. Then I do them a second varnish when they're based, because that also helps seal in the tufts and anything else I've put on it as well. So, and the edges of the base, because I usually paint them black around the edges. So yeah, let's go down to the bench, take a look at these last six. Hurrah! We've got just 4 of these guys. I've got these 4 to do, which they've all been filled. They're just going to give them a sand after this. I'm also painting up the 2 samurai figures at 28mm. Once these horses are sanded today, they'll all be ready for a prime, along with the Norman infantry from Victrix that I've said I'd have a go at painting as well. So I've just held them all back until I have one priming session. That's the only thing with an airbrush compared to, you know, a rattle can or brush priming. You've got to clean the airbrush and everything afterwards and set it all up, because mine's in a cupboard, it's not all set up all the time. Anyway, I'm rambling and I'm trying to keep this short for you guys. Let's go to the bench. Right, here are our 6 voltigeurs. Yep, I don't think I call them voltigeurs when I actually announce them. Again, of different poses compared to the others, but you can get variations again on these guys. You can have them, I believe, firing or pointing or loading, something like that. Some of them have got the covered shakos completely, and some have got the shako where it's tied up. Have we got one? Oh yeah, I think that's most of them are. And you've got the yellow banding around the shako being on show. Again, I've given the shakos a brown highlight just to give that oil, because it's like a oil, an oil cloth that they put over the shakos to try and keep them a bit waterproof. So I've banged up the cartridge boxes a bit. It's a bit overkill, I know, but it just gives that campaign feel. Again, the trousers have been variously, some have got more stains than others, the odd patch here and there. I've dirtied 1 or 2 of the jackets up on the elbows, I don't think on this one, but again, I've tried to put the emblems on, not particularly successfully, but they're there. I've just got the one guy in a tan shako cover for a bit of a difference. Again, dirtied the knees up on this guy. They've all got the water bottles. It's a shame really they didn't go with the other one where they got a couple of variations, but never mind. Again, just given a worn feel to some of the cartridge boxes. And again, a couple of mixtures of greatcoats. Couple of Napoleonic ends and blobs for crowns on top, just to show the odd ones where they have still got a brass attachment to them. He's got a long service stripe and his corporal stripes. I say sometimes you have to line out the detail on these, because obviously they're plastic moulded. They tend to be a bit, you don't get the undercuts that you do with the metal. So it is sometimes advisable, especially with a lot of white, is to just give a That's a dark brown or a brown umber, something like that I've used just to outline those. And then one last one. As I say, there's not a lot to show really. As I say, all the same type of thing. Oh, you have this one. I've dirtied up his elbows and stuff, giving him a patch as well. And again, these are all painted in acrylics. They're all painted using the blues are the Andrea blue set. The reds are the Andrea red set. The whites are a mixture of Vallejo and AK next generation or third generation paints. Browns are again a mixture of those two companies as well, and so is so is the black as well. So it's a right old mixture. All Spanish companies though. Spain seems to lead the world on paints. So again, varnish. All the rest of the unit's got to be varnished as well. It doesn't take too long for the first varnish, and then we'll sort some bases out, get them based. So you should see these in the next week, based, and I've probably got to do, because I like to use that clump method a lot, I'll probably be doing a load more tufts, which usually takes me a good 3 or 4 hours to make a load of those up. As I say, while we're on the close-up, I've just got this is the type of filling I've had to do on these. The gap isn't as thick down the front on the front. It's that's just where I've put my putty, but it is a big gap here. I just to fill that in. It's easier to make a worm with the putty, you know, like a roll it up really thin, and bang it in. And I use a rubber sculpting tool just to smooth it out. Underneath, obviously, it's got to be all done as well in the back. There's always a slight gap here. Again, there's more putty there than's needed really, but and there's always a big gap on this front as well. I'll just rough it up slightly to try and make it look a bit like the sheepskin. But only these 4 to do, and they'll be ready for priming tomorrow, because I would like to get onto those. So thank you very much for stopping by. Up and coming videos, you know me, they're all over the shop. Once I've got these done, which I have done now, I can get on to these guys are nowhere. These were for the Panther diorama, and as you can see, they haven't got any farther forward than the last time I saw them about 3 weeks ago. So they're all getting done now. That's the mission, to do those over the next 2 days, so we can finally get a reveal on the Panther diorama coming up in the next, next week or so, 2 weeks, I don't know. We're working on our samurai figure at the moment, only one so far, but we're working on that guy. So I won't show those until I've got both figures done. I've got a 1 in 35 scale Kharkov 1943 Waffen-SS officer. He's all done. I'm just putting a tiny last bit of leaf scatter on his base, and you'll see him either tomorrow or over the weekend, probably over the weekend. Obviously my 1 in 350 scale shipbuilding is going along fine. I don't see the sense in showing you any more of that until I've got it, probably I've painted the main superstructure and it's actually stuck onto the ship, because otherwise you're just seeing bits more plastic card and unpainted photo etch. And also I've had several things come in. I've got a dragon, pretty old school I suppose really, but I've got a dragon Waffen-SS 4 figures to do in 1 in 35 scale, and that's for the little Jeep vignette. I've got that Jeep vignette in 1 in 35 scale from, was it May? So that's going to be a build coming up at some stage in the next month or so with the figures. And I've also, so I'll unbox those, and I've got 2, I've just won a bid on, first time I've won a bid on, I said I wouldn't bid on eBay again, but I did, and I actually won. So I've won a 1 in 700 scale Type 21 frigate, which are really hard to come by, so I'm really glad I got that. And I've got from the same company, Dragon, I've got another 1 in 700 scale Type 42 destroyer. All of these commemorate the Falklands campaign, but Operation Corporate I think it is, but also you can adapt them for later times and earlier times and all that type of stuff. They're in 1 in 700 scale, but I thought we might have a look at those as well. I've got no photo etch or anything for them at the moment. That's, you know, for the future, but I thought, I knew how hard they were to get, and it's something for the stash. I don't often love building my model stash up too much because it takes me so long to get anything built. I don't want to end up like you lads with cupboards and cupboards and cupboards full of them. But I have learnt my lesson on other times, like some of the guys do. You know, if you don't get it while it's out there, it doesn't come back for years. So I wanted those two, and I'd like to actually buy some more if possible at some stage when I've got back to getting some money. Anyway, I'm rambling again. So look after yourselves. We'll have an update. Well, it won't be an update. We'll have a reveal on these guys hopefully in the next week or so. Look after yourselves, and we'll have an update definitely on at least. I don't know yet. I'm painting for a change. I'm painting the cavalry separately. I don't normally do it. I normally stick them on the horse and paint them all in one. But I wanted to, because I was going to do some other painting on these horses. I thought, no, I'll keep them off, and we'll see how it goes for these ones. So anyway, look after yourselves. Thank you very much for your kind support and following along on the channel. It's always appreciated. Cheers.